Welcome back to Thrones Be the Game, the show where we talk everything Game of Thrones. We haven't been here in a while. My man Sleep is stepping in. Scott and Raven will be back soon. And Sleep, you just gonna run with us, man. For now, man. You a part of the team now, man. I'm just gonna go and crown you.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
For Just Posted podcast, make y'all sure y'all go over there and subscribe to Just Posted on the SOC network, as well as check us out on talking about Wheel of Time here on Lando Cal. So let's jump into this, man. We are in Westeros again. What do you think people should expect to see or thinking, like getting their mind right for this series?
All right. So this book or this TV show is based on this book, Fire and Blood. The book goes back further, though. The book goes back about 300 years before Game of Thrones. The TV show starts roughly about 100 years before. So it's as close as you can get to Game of Thrones without doing Robert's Rebellion, which I hope at some point they do. That is a series.
That's something I want to see, man. I would definitely want to see Robert's Rebellion.
But like this gets you as close as you can get, roughly, without touching on those major players that we hear about in Game of Thrones. So this is like a generation before that, basically.
Yeah, we just get people whispered and talked about in Game of Thrones that like talking about them, like people. Like I know Jaime Lannister talks about Cole a lot because they have a similar kind of beginning of what they were. You know, he's the King Slayer and Cole is the King Maker. So they have a similar kind of vibe. So I know Jaime Lannister, he always talks about him a little bit in the books.
Yeah.
But man, so the first episode, man, a lot of people are like, oh man, this was kind of whack. And maybe because I've read the books and read the materials, I thought it was pretty good, like a good foundational lay-in.
So the good thing about this is I'm gonna go back on Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
the first seasons of Game of Thrones are based on a book or several books. It for the most part, I would say the first 4, 5, 6 seasons follow the books almost exactly. There's slight deviation because there's only so much you can put on a TV screen.
They don't have in there, you know.
Yeah. But for the most part, the basic storyline follows the books. And then George R.R. Martin hadn't finished Game of Thrones yet. So there's no it still hasn't. So there's no source material for those last couple seasons of Game of Thrones. Like that's just the show. None of that happened in the books. Pretty much after Jon Snow gets stabbed, everything after that is not in a book at all. Like the book, those books don't exist. The good thing about this, unless they really, really want to go off script, everything they need is in the book. So it's going to follow.
It's enough of riveting story. It's enough of the riveting story by itself.
Yeah, it's going to follow that. They have to get us to a point where we can recognize and have some sort of attachment to these characters because they're all new. If you didn't read the books, all these characters are brand new. So I think the first episode of any season is just setting the table. You're not even getting the appetizer. It's setting the table. This is where we're going to eat tonight. You kind of got to have that before you can, bring me my meat and potatoes. So I think they
thought some people must have thought dragons was going to be just coming out right at the beginning, just burning people, like just coming right out the screen on you and just burning up people.
and that's not realistic.
No,
you got to make me like a character before you kill them. They did a good job of making me really, really, really love the Starks before they killed Daddy Stark.
Yeah,
like let me grow an attachment to somebody. And Game of Thrones started just as slow. If people don't remember,
that first episode, we didn't know nothing. We didn't get anything cracking until Jaime pushed out the window.
And that's the last 30 seconds of the TV show.
Everything else was sitting them being in town. That's it.
Yeah, that was the last, like the very end. When young Stark got pushed out and handicapped.
I just call him a 3-eyed Raven now. He's just a 3-eyed Raven. It's a Brandon Stark, but it's a 3-eyed Raven. So I like to set the table a little bit because I know I was talking to our brother Ted, and he was like, "Who are the hell are the High Towers?" And I was like, "High Towers were the richest in the land." at one point.
They got the paper.
They got more paper than people don't understand. They got more paper than the Lannisters.
At this point, well, I mean, it took the Lannisters a minute to amass paper. They
right,
were
and,
able to
and power with Tywin making them moves later on, 100 years later after this, making his moves brought them up.
Yeah. So certain people have always kind of had a little, I ain't gonna say necessarily money, but power.
Mm-hmm.
The Starks in the North have always had power,
but they don't have bread though.
But they don't have bread. But
because they don't have no trade routes. Like, who's gonna go to the North? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's just certain folks that they didn't buy their way into power. Like the Lannisters kind of lucked up. Mm-hmm. They were able to buy power. Mm-hmm. And some people got that. I mean, the Targaryens have it due to dragons, but everybody's going to find their way to maneuver the Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. There's 7 kingdoms basically, and a rough history lesson. The Valyrians come over, and they have dragons, and they basically conquer Westeros. They give some people a chance to bend the knee, and they say you can even keep your titles and your lands. Just pay us a tax, and we the big king. You can be the king of the North and the king of there or whatever, but you
got the river run. Go and keep the river run. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and that takes 200 years to get really solidified. So when this TV show starts, it's all King's Landing is popping. They have the gold cloaks. The streets are paved. Like, this is actually a time of relative peace right now. So they're playing at war. They have this tournament. They're not really banging or fighting anybody right now. Like, everything is for the most part peaceful. It's so peaceful that the city has grown lax. There's crime in the city in the beginning. They ain't really been outside dealing with that. They just been, hey, we run it and we chill it.
And then the Greyjoys are out there kind of fucking around too, though, with their ports too, right?
Yes, and they're always. I hate to say it, man. the Greyjoys are basically pirates.
Hey, they always gonna mess with your stuff. They just always gonna mess with your stuff.
So they haven't really introduced the 7 kingdoms yet, so I won't get to all that. But they do mention some folks, and the Greyjoys are, they ran the seas until until the Targaryens. I want to say Targaryens until the Valyrians came over, because there are other houses of Valyria.
Yes,
but the Targaryens just were the most powerful house. They had dragons, but there were other families that came over too. We meet the Kingmaker. He's the black guy on the TV show. He's not a Targaryen. He's a Valyrian, and that was a different family that came from Valyria. Yeah, he has no dragons.
He has Corlys.
Yeah, Corlys.
Yep.
Yeah. Corlys has no dragons. He's actually is the sea snake. He got a fleet and he run the seas. So not every person from old Valyria had access to dragons or dragon riders. Like, there are different groups and different families from over there as well. And back then, these families still exist, and some have some power. Targaryens run the show. They do run the show. But there's some other folks, from old Valyria in the mix.
Yeah. The best way I can describe this is the downfall of the Targaryens and the Valyrians. This series will be. This just shows you how everything just gets all messed up and how they lose all the power, why there are no dragons.
Yeah, I don't know how many seasons this is going to be, so the end of Dragons may not be to like season 4, season 5. Yeah. But this is definitely kicking off, how even other families felt powerful enough to even try to go at the Targaryens.
Yep. And then even more to explain the Hightowers, the Tyrell family is directly related to the Hightowers. So that's where all that bread comes in that area as well. There's people like, okay, well, why you didn't see them in Game of Thrones? That's because the Tyrells married into the Hightowers and took a lot of that bread. And we're giving it to you in layman's terms, y'all. Like it's a little bit deeper, but I'm trying to explain it to you easier. The Tyrells, Mace Tyrell married into the Hightower family, and they basically combined they bred together.
Yep.
So that's why you don't see them there. And I believe the Hightower, the guy that runs the Hightower, I can't remember his name, but he was like he's like in a tower somewhere, like not doing nothing, like basically going crazy. In Game of Thrones, they talk about him in game, but you never meet him.
Yeah. So if you remember, if anybody watched Game of Thrones, there's even in the North, there were the Starks, and then there were the Karstarks, and there's all these other families that kind of pay homage to like the head family. Think of it like the mob. There's little neighborhoods and little states.
Yeah.
And like Queens got a boss, and Brooklyn got a boss, but all these other people, they work for that boss. So, and they'll introduce more characters as we go on. But for the most part, all we see in this episode are Targaryens, the King's Council. That's pretty much it. That's all they give us.
I mean, they give us a little bit of when they all pledge allegiance to the new potential queen at the end of the episode. They have the Stark family come out, the Baratheons. The Baratheons really had to come up too, because they really didn't have no bread for real, because they inherited Dragonstone. They didn't run Dragonstone at first.
Yep, correct. Dragonstone is where the Targaryens lived at first.
Yeah, when they first came in.
Yep, when they moved to King's Landing, that's when the Baratheons were given Dragonstone. It was there's a castle there, a keep, that they were in charge of watching, basically, since the Targaryens moved the capital to King's Landing. Dragonstone was like the original capital at first.
All right, let's dive in a couple of characters to people to try to understand them a little bit more. King Viserys, the first, the unfit king.
I won't say he was unfit. He never wanted to be king.
He didn't. But also, isn't his dragon the main? What dragon is his that died? Right.
His dragon's alive still. I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the show. I think his daughter's riding his dragon. Oh,
I thought his dragon was dead because he was talking about what's the main big dragon that they were showing the skull for. I thought that was his.
Oh no! I think that was like the first dragon that they rode over there.
Okay, the original, because he's like the biggest one too ever, right?
Yeah, he was the biggest dragon. Like all the dragons, like I ain't gonna say came from him, but he Optimus Prime of dragons. Right. He's a big boy.
Right, because they said Drogon was getting similar to his size.
Yeah, and he really wasn't even a dragon rider per se, because he wasn't in line for the throne. So in the beginning, I forgot the king's name, and that's a shame. But they show this old king who has no heirs. He could either choose his daughter to be the first queen, or he picked his nephew because he was the oldest male, the most worthy living male available, basically.
Yeah, King Jaehaerys.
Yeah, and man, back then
the thing was though, she got passed over twice too. She's the queen that never was twice.
Correct.
Because she got passed over for Jaehaerys before. No, passed over because his first son he gave the mantle to that was younger. He died. Then he passed over the second time with her cousin Aerys.
Correct. All right, so Viserys, such a horrible name too, because every time I think of Viserys, the other Viserys was trash too. But right, this Viserys didn't even want to be king. He never thought he would be king. So when it comes to, he's a cousin. When it comes to learning how to rule and like the intricacies of like a king's court, he didn't learn these things. Like he didn't have to. He never thought that he would be king. So I'm not gonna call him a horrible king. He's an ill-equipped king, but it's a time of peace, so he really ain't got much to do anyway. But
So let me ask you this quickly: why was Rhaenys more, the Princess Rhaenys, more equipped then if they were all at peace then?
All right. So when it comes to a succession, You
No,
have to
like
have,
they said that she was smarter, like she knew everything. Like even on the show, you see that she know the game.
because she lives in the castle, so she's got the best tutors and she's learning the histories. All of
Oh,
the
Harris came from not living in the castle. You're saying?
yeah, all of the king's children. If you were the king and then your kids live in the castle with you, they don't have the best teachers. They don't see you dealing with what you got to deal with, and ask questions, or you might talk to your family and talk to your kids. Whereas Viserys didn't live there. Like
Okay.
he wasn't a part. He's a cousin, so he come to visit. He hang out, but he don't live there.
It's like
Your
going to
cousin
visit your
don't.
cousins in Mississippi. Like you ain't
Yeah,
on the farm. You go visit the farm.
yeah, you like so. He didn't really learn the intricacies of court, which his brother so eloquently tells him. He's being used by everybody, and he doesn't understand how these people gonna manipulate you and try to use you, because he didn't have to deal with any of that. Like he wasn't, bred for that, and that's not his fault. Again,
No.
it was a situation where they instead of letting a woman who was more than equipped and ready to go, like she was ready. She could have been queen right then and right there. They chose the guy, so he had less credentials. He just happened to have a dick. He got it because he had a dick.
So how does Damon feel more qualified, even though he wasn't in the court either? Like he wasn't raised there either.
Damon has an evil, not gonna say evil. Damon has a mean streak about him, and he was more. He did more combat. Every brother got a brother that's in the books that ain't really. It's a dime of peace. So I'm gonna just learn some books. Like I learned to be an accountant. I can be smart in one aspect, but I can't be the CEO.
Gotcha.
Whereas Damon, he bro, I've been out here. I'm about that action. Yeah, we might be at peace, but you can still whip somebody at peace. I mean, you saw how he Blue Lives Matter the gold cloaks.
Yeah.
He had them out there cutting off arms, beheading people in front of everybody. Like he came in on some. I mean, he was definitely LAPD. He came in on some. Hey, I'm cracking heads. He came in on some. I'm cracking heads. Like he came in like these folks don't respect me. He had been training them folks for months too. He had been getting them together, getting them ready. He's like, yeah, when it's time to go outside.
Now it's our time. Let's get it.
Yeah. But crime was rampant there. And because they were at peace and they wouldn't let them dragons loose, folks weren't really scared of,
And also the dragons can't be that big because they keep them in the dragon pit, right? Because they don't let them be open and free and grow, right?
True. Yes, they let them out to fly. They fly them. But yeah, if you put a dragon underground, it's gonna stun its growth. They can't. It's just like with anything. You put it in a small quarters. Eventually, over time, they're gonna get smaller.
So, for instance, like somebody like Rhaenys's dragon, are they in the dragon pit as well, or are they over somewhere else out in the open? Or are they all the dragons in the dragon pit?
So yeah, the dragons can't just be outside for no more. Like. Because they're dragons.
Hey, it's like King, that dog King in your neighborhood. You just can't let King be out.
They'll be eating livestock. They might take some kids. They dragons.
Drogon, when Drogon was on the loose for months.
Exactly. She tried to let Drogon be free, but he was eating sheep. And this is an old game. This happened in Game of Thrones, so I apologize that we keep going back to it.
Yeah, I mean, people that's listening, I'm hoping that they've already seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so
Drogon was out there living. He was going to the club, drinking. He was gone for some months, wasn't he?
and when they called him, they had to take him back underground. They was like, "Hey, man, we okay." And Daenerys hated doing that. She didn't want to do that, but
and he got twice, 2 or 3 times bigger too, didn't he? Like they was like, "Damn."
Yeah. I mean, he a dragon, so he out eating. He ain't eating domesticated food. He ain't eating kibbles and bits. He out there hunting. Not to use a dog as an example, but a domesticated dog, a coyote he live different than a dog that's in a kennel.
Right. That's real.
So
all the dragons are in the dragon pit.
Yeah, at this point, the dragons have they're not in Valyria anymore. They're in Westeros.
Yeah.
So you would have the
Valeria's
people with
gone, right? Because Valeria doesn't exist, right?
it doesn't exist anymore. It's volcanoes erupted, it burned like it's gone. It burned
Yeah,
down.
because didn't the original king he had visions, right? And that's why his wife gave him visions or something, and he was like, "Let's just roll out." It's like if your wife just wake you up, it's like, "Let's just go." Like you'd be like, "Oh, okay," like let's just go.
There were some visions, and it didn't happen as fast as they thought it would, but it did happen 15 years after the vision.
So they already left. So they left with Valeria. Then so those people the Valerians that did leave, the Targaryens and those that decided to leave. So some people stayed though too.
Yes, some people stayed. Think Krypton. They had the vision, and Superman got off. But
so some people just didn't believe them, or like, how did that work? Where
Yeah, I mean, if some random motherfucker come to you and like, I had this vision that this shit gonna burn down. After 3 weeks, if the shit don't burn down, you gonna start being like, "You sure? It's been a year. Are you sure?"
But they are. So, but wasn't he the king? Was he the king of Valeria, or was he? What was his position when that happened?
So, I honestly don't think so. I don't believe so. Because he was.
So there was the king of Valeria before, like that was above. So he was like a smaller group of people left.
Yeah, the Targaryens. The Targaryens didn't necessarily run Valeria. Yeah, they just were smart enough to get up out of that. Well,
and some other Valerians was like, "We rolling with you."
Yeah, and a lot did not. A lot of people stayed.
And is that why they believe that there's still dragons out? Is because they could have maybe survived?
Well, eventually, because of the free cities and things like that, you just realize there ain't no more dragons. Yeah. But back in the day, after years and years, you just like, no, the mother dragons is gone. But
because they would be a wild off the leash, killing people randomly, just flying through towns, killing people.
Yes, there would be just random dragons flying around Volantis or flying around. Like the free cities still exist. They're not a part of Westeros, so they exist
which is Essos and stuff, right?
Essos and all that exists. It would definitely be wild dragons flying around, terrorizing shit. So, most of the dragons, even at this point, there aren't any wild dragons anymore. Like they've been, I won't say domesticated, but the Targaryens, when they came to Westeros, all the dragons that they could get, they could bring over, they brought over. They're like, we finna go take this over. Because they also had the vision. Yeah, because I mean, one of the visions was that if the Targaryens didn't sit on the throne in Westeros, that Westeros would be destroyed eventually by the White Walkers.
By the Night King.
Yeah. So they took they was like, we're going to go take this over. And they took it over, at least the original king, to help the people, which is kind of fucked up, but basically
I'm gonna burn your capital down, but it's for you.
Yeah. But I don't want to get into the episode yet because that's not even in the book. But I like how they put that in there. Like I do. Like we'll get there in a second. So, anywho, Viserys is, he the king, and he having a hard time because just like his uncle, he can't have an heir. He got several kids have died, miscarriages. He has a daughter, but daughter can't be queen. It's very misogyny runs deep in Westeros.
Misogyny keeps on making people lose bread.
Yes. So
they do it. They're doing it. Keep doing it because they could have been made Rhaenyra Targaryen the queen, and you're doing it again.
Yeah. So he's stressed out. It's a big tournament coming up because his wife is pregnant. And
I called it a gender reveal. It was a gender reveal. That was the
first gender reveal, but they just reveal crazy. It's niggas is dying at this gender reveal party.
Yes,
it's not a peaceful joust. Like niggas is dying.
But the ones afterward, like the tournament at Harrenhal, that one was more peaceful, right?
Eventually, you can't keep killing the best knights in the kingdom because ain't no bullshit knights there to fight. Like these the best of the best. But because there's no war, this they chance to really swag out. Like
Right.
I'm gonna bust his head type of situation.
So they going extra hard. The tournament at Harry Hall wasn't like that.
No, I mean the only person that was really wilding out was the Mountain, but everybody else was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mountain was wild, but the rest of everybody else, not, I knocked you out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good.
No, the only gore that we see in this episode is actually at the tournament.
Yeah.
And,
on them streets too, though, with the LAPD.
True, but yeah, that wasn't even fair. Yes, the first actual blood we see is I call them Blue Lives Matter Targaryen sending the police out to get everybody out the street with their hoodies on. He basically called it curfew. He basically called it curfew. He said, "Hey, get out the streets."
If you're on the streets, we busting your ass. We cutting your dick off.
Now, apparently, he did this without any type of due process either. Like there was no trial. Like there was nothing.
And nobody knew he was doing it. He just was like, "Yo, let's ride."
He was like, Susie said that nigga be raping. Fuck it. Cut his dick off. Like
you don't even know if it's true or not.
And bro, like it was like in front of it was outside too. The shit wasn't, in private. The shit was on Main Street. He was like, "Hey, pull his pants down, chop off his dick."
Right in front of everybody.
No first aid kit, nothing. Let him bleed. If he died, he died. Hopefully, whatever. Like it was wild. So yes, we see that. And dude give me R. Kelly vibes too. He would look weird around his niece. I didn't like that. I didn't.
You talking about Damien?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he put that necklace on his niece, he was a little rapey. I did.
Yeah, it looked real. I mean, Game of Thrones in general gets real rapey in general, real a lot of that. I mean, in general. I mean, you got to think what John Aaron married. And the Vale married a woman who was 40 years younger than him, but he didn't really want to anyway. But they made him. Remember?
Yeah.
I forgot her name. But John Aaron,
he was forced to. Yes.
Right after everything happened with Robert's Rebellion.
Yeah. All right. So the Targaryens, they do that intermingled shit anyway. Like,
and that's part of the downfall too, right?
Like they do that intermingling shit regardless. If you saw Game of Thrones, when Daenerys found out that Jon Snow was her nephew, she really didn't trip for real. He tripped. He was like, "Oh shit, that's my aunt." She was like, "I mean, when you coming back over, John?" Like that shit didn't bother her at all. Like, no, I mean, am I lying?
No. I mean, you got to think the first king that came over didn't he marry both his sisters?
Correct. So I mean, the Targaryens believed in keeping their blood pure. So they definitely.
They also didn't know that's how they making them crazy. That's how we get the Mad King being crazy. Is that's
how we get. That's how we get the Mad King. Yes, that's exactly how we get the Mad King. But they believed in keeping their blood as pure as possible. I think that's another reason why they didn't pick the sister, because she had married the black dude, and he
wasn't black in the books though.
He wasn't black in the books, but I'm just saying.
It makes it better for TV show that he's black. Like
I'm using the show. She married a Valerian, but not a Targaryen, and Targaryens were about keeping that blood pure.
And they didn't think it was. And then she went way opposite. She had a lot of off ramps that she could have went to in their eyes to go get the brother with dreads.
She didn't pick a brother with dragons. She picked a brother with ships. She said,
and then she started rocking dreads.
Yep.
She up there wearing the Bo Derek twist now. Like they got her. He changed her whole life up.
Yeah. So it was what it was. Like I said, a little rapey, but it's cool. He does love his brother though. Like this is true, and he wasn't gonna kill his brother. He just wanted to be next in line. He's much younger than his brother, so he like, when your old ass died, nigga, I'm next.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's basically what he was on. He like, bro, you gonna die before me, because I'm that nigga. Nobody finna kill me. Even in the battle.
He said people can kill you at any time.
Yeah. Even when he did the tournament, like when they got time for him to die, because he was about dead. My man yielded. He said, "No, bro, fuck all that. I yield. Chill. Let me up. I'm next."
Kristen Cole. That was the Kristen Cole who's Dornish, which will
My man said,
I got more to live for. He said, I got more to live for. It's all right. I'll get you. I'll see you.
He said, yeah, you whip my ass today. That's cool. Wait till I'm king. I'll get you back.
Wait till I'm king.
like he knew he was gonna be king. I don't know why his wife, why Viserys' wife couldn't have, a male child. Both of her male children died, as babies. So that sucks.
But it comes from the thing of that if you shouldn't be on the Iron Throne, like everything bad will happen to you if you're not like worthy for the throne.
I can see that happening. And he's also sick right now too.
Right, but that's coming from the throne, right? They say like if you can't literally sit on the throne, if you're not worthy, it'll start like cutting you.
Yeah, and he's fucked up. It cut his back. His back ain't healing. They like we gonna cauterize it. He just cut his finger a second ago. Like I mean, not a second ago, but toward the middle of that. Yeah, he cut his hand. So he fucking himself up. That old ass metal. That was all the swords of the people that they conquered. They melted them together and made a throne. So
that's all the people they conquered, right?
Yeah. Like they took the king, the head nigga sword. They took all the head nigga swords and melted them up, and that's how you got the throne.
And people, if you keep up with Game of Thrones, they talk about that sword Blackfire. That's what Damian has. That's Blackfire he has. So we haven't seen this sword. We don't know what happened to this sword in general. I mean, there's suspicions of what happened, but people were thinking that remember when the Gold Company came over, because they were supposed to be part of Valyrian, right?
Yeah. So
because the person that started the Gold Company was Valyrian and left after another civil war.
Correct. So some of the Targaryens who lost, I guess they were called Blackfires, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They left. They lost. They left Westeros. They went to the free cities and did their thing over there.
And became mercenaries, basically.
Mercenaries, basically, yeah.
And they the sword Blackfire with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about the new Tywin Lannister? I would say of everything, Otto Hightower.
Okay, I was watching the show and I don't want to mess that up. Is that the King's Hand?
Yeah.
All right. So he ain't as bad as Tywin, man.
Man, I don't know, man. He seemed like he's playing it like he's got his daughter going to holler at he's relentless with it, man. He's putting all these pieces together for him to have some power and rule.
All right, so being the King's Hand is not as a fun job as everybody think it is, because he basically the vice president. He do all the work. I don't know if you remember when Robert made Ned the King's Hand.
He was doing everything. Remember Ned didn't know it was gonna be that hard. He was like,
Robert didn't do shit. Just like Viserys ain't doing shit. The King's Hand, the one that do everything.
And that's why Tywin liked it. That's why Tywin liked it when he had this spot.
Yeah, he had his spot. So this dude, again, a fucked up situation. His best friend, this is like his best friend. His best friend's wife. We can't get to this yet. We got to go back because we got to go to the tournament. They did a great job of the tournament of showing like the tournament happening and the violence with that. At the same time, showing the birth. Because that was violent as hell too. It was a back and forth thing. It was bloody. It was crazy to see how children were possibly born in medieval times. Is fucking crazy. Like, oh my god, bro!
It was a big deal.
Man. Insane. Like to see that the way it was done, and dude don't care about. Okay, this happens nowadays sometimes too, where a child is in peril, an infant can die, during birth, and you got to make a decision. We can save one, possibly. You might not be able to save neither one of them, but it's a slim chance we can save one. Who do you choose? The wife or the baby? I feel like she set herself up for failure earlier in the show where she said, I ain't having no more kids, bro. This it. This the last one. If she wouldn't have said that, he might have been like, you know what, in a couple
we can
weeks,
run it back in a few months.
We can run it back. But she looked at that man in the face and was like, hey, this it for me. I'm not doing this again. I ain't having no more kids. And he was like, I mean, if I have a child with someone else, they are a bastard. And a bastard can't have a claim to the throne. What am I going to do? So he chose the baby. That shit was barbaric.
Yeah,
Holding
they just carved into her like they was carving into some wood, like your name into the a doggone tree. Like you was trying to put Eric in a tree, and like
bro. She woke up like they had gave her the milk of the poppy. She had, kind of passed out. And she woke up and he was, whispering sweet nothings in her ear. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right. She wasn't no damn fool. She like, why is 7 nurses in here now? Like, where these other women? Where these other people come from? Like, why? It was hella people in the room, bro. She was like, what? When I went to sleep, it was the maester. It was the maester and one nurse.
And one midwife.
Yeah. I done woke up and there's 7 people in here, and you was at the tournament. Like, what are you doing here?
Do you and going back to the tournament, man? Do you think that's a similar? It was I was thinking it was a similar callback to how the original game, our Game of Thrones we saw happen, because basically Rhaegar Targaryen gave up a rose to Lyanna Stark. He was already married. And that basically starts the Game of Thrones to where that's basically started the whole jump off was starting from that. Because Robert Baratheon got the hating. People don't understand Robert Baratheon is one of the villains of that series.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yep.
No.
I'm saying that now. Yep. Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Dog. Robert was a hater, dog.
We're not going to do that. Because one, there's nothing to do with this show, but we're not
but I'm just saying they're showing the symbolism between the flower being given to a woman.
So you're supposed to pick a champion.
Right.
You're supposed to pick a champion. That's what they're supposed to do. You can ask for a rose, or someone can choose you. Like you could be, the chick could choose and just give you one. Or if you walk up on somebody and you ask them, if they give it to you, they can deny you too. They can say no.
Yeah.
So this is the problem. Lyanna Stark, her brother is Ned Stark.
Yep.
Ned is best friends with Robert Baratheon. They is boys and partners.
Yeah.
And you are supposed to marry Robert Baratheon. Like that. Yeah. That's your fiance. Like that is your fiance.
Let her choose, baby. Let her choose.
It's the olden days when you don't.
I know.
And the Targaryen dude was already married. He already had a wife.
Yeah, and like 3 kids.
Yeah, so he was on some fuck shit. When he walked up on her and asked for the rose, he the villain. He already married.
No, he had the vision already of that child.
But listen, don't nobody know about this vision. We just talk about if I'm sitting in the crowd and I know this dude is the prince, and I know the prince got 3 kids and a wife, and I know that this broad is dating Robert. And at this point, Robert ain't no bitch. Robert probably the second best nigga in the sword in the kingdom. Like he pound for pound. Like he not the fat Robert.
It's probably Arthur Dane than him, right?
Like he might not be known for it yet, but once the rebellion kicks off, the world get to see. We've been sleeping on Robert. Like Robert ain't no
hammer. With that hammer.
Yes, like Robert is not a bitch at all. I'm sure Jamie Lannister had a claim, I guess, and Rhaegar probably had a claim. Like
no, sir, Arthur Dane, too. Arthur Dane too.
Yeah, You had already mentioned them, so yeah.
Yeah.
But Robert not even in a discussion for real until his wife or fiance comes up missing, because he don't know what happened to her.
Yeah.
He don't know that ain't no social media. World started to catch her creeping off.
Hey, they went on a 3-4 month affair away. Like they gone like together.
Yes. So he was hurt. So I'm not gonna call him a villain. Like his feelings was hurt.
I won't say he's a villain. He was a hater though.
And he what? The dude was married, bro.
But she chose, man. Like, look, man, look.
But he didn't know that. No one was there to know that she was chose. Everybody in town told Robert she was kidnapped. So all the other ladies in waiting was like, Rhaegar came in on a horse and he took your fiance. So the Starks think that he got kidnapped.
Right, because he's got beef with two sets of people now.
I mean, no, yeah. So the Starks are her actual daddy and brother. So
that's what I'm saying. You got two families that are pissed off. Is what I'm saying. You got the Baratheons and the Starks because of one deed.
Yeah. So that's 2 kingdoms out the 7. It's like, bro, we finna go holler at the king. This ain't nothing to do with this, but fuck it. We gonna go holler at the king.
Yeah, that's when Brendan Stark and his dad went.
Yep, and you need to fucking give me back my daughter. I know she alive. I know your son got her. And the Mad King is insane, and he burns them. That's actually what kicked off the Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
the Starks just wanted their damn family back, and this motherfucker was.
Brendan was originally supposed to be the head of the Stark family, and he's supposed to marry Ned's wife too, right? Originally.
What'd you say?
I said he was supposed to be originally the next heir for the Lord Stark of the North. Brendan was.
Yes,
he's supposed to marry his wife too. He's supposed to marry his wife too. That ended up being his wife. Yes.
Yes, Ned is the little brother. So Ned wasn't gonna marry Caitlyn at first. His big brother was.
Right, because she comes from the River Run, I believe, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that was supposed to be like make their allegiance dope, and that's why when the Red Wedding happened, he thought it was all good because that's where she came from.
Correct.
Okay. So I won't say Robert Baratheon's the villain. I was just saying he just seen a little bit of hating though, and then got his boys amped up like, she took my girl. That's your sister. We should ride on them.
But he was given this information by some people, so he didn't just he just come up with it. Like,
yeah,
and it's to the point now that the only person that found out was Ned. Ned got there and she talked to Ned before she died. I'm like, no, I love this nigga. I was gonna be with him.
and look, Ned, he could have real talk. His Rhaegar's loyalty is the only thing that brought him back because he was like, I gotta go back and fight for the family.
What'd you say?
I said he only had that loyalty. That's the only reason Rhaegar left and went back. Because he's like, damn, it's the they didn't even know a war jumped off. They out somewhere. He's like, dang, I gotta go back and help out the family. I know I don't like my dad. I should be the next king, but I gotta go back and make sure the family's straight.
Oh yeah. So at that point they said we're gonna kill the Baratheons, and the Starks was like, we're gonna kill all the Targaryens. These niggas ain't got no dragons. What they finna do? Like, we've been letting these motherfuckers be kings, and the dragons been dead. Like, what are they talking about? This nigga crazy. He burned up your daddy, and Robert didn't even necessarily want to be king either. It was supposed to be the first nigga who sat on the throne got the kingdom. Technically, he really couldn't be a king because he was a king's guard. But the first nigga on the throne was Jaime.
Right,
Jaime killed the Mad King. Jaime killed the Mad King and then sat on the throne, but he's ineligible. He can't be king.
And then I guess on the other. So do you think that somebody like do you think Tywin never won? And we can go back into this to Otto character. Do you think Tywin never really wanted to be king? He always just wanted to be behind it. Like, I only want to be a producer, executive producer. I don't need to be on the track.
No, Tywin would have loved to be fucking king, or not himself, but for Jaime to be king. but Jaime chose to join the King's Guard because he was smashing his sister, and that was gonna get him in King's Landing. If Jaime wouldn't have been in the King's Guard,
No,
Jaime
I
would
thought
have
I thought the Mad King made him do that for in spite to Tywin because he didn't want him to have an heir.
No. This is okay. So there was a rumor we never got to see it. I hope we see it in the books that Tyrion
It's his son.
was
It's the Mad King's son.
Mad King's son. So yes,
Yeah.
Tywin and him had beef, but Jaime didn't say no and didn't put up a fight either.
Okay.
Because he like, now I get to go to King's Landing instead of being back at the crib. I'm in King's Landing. Me and Cersei finna be knocking each other off still.
Because who was Cersei originally betrothed to?
You know what? It may have been it was either a Targaryen. It wasn't a Stark. It was one of the other Targaryens that got killed.
Yeah, because she was originally betrothed to somebody. That's why she was in King's Landing.
Yeah.
And then when everything went down, they was like, and basically Tywin was like, I got to know that because didn't basically the Lancers came in with all the bread to help out the situation. And he
At
was
this
like,
point, even the Targaryens are broke. So the Lannisters are funding the kingdom. They have been funding the kingdom for like 50 years.
And then that's why, but the Dornish are aligned, and I guess we'll see that in this series, how the Dornish were kind of away from the Seven Kingdoms on their own, but then they come into the fold through this, and they're the only kingdom that was aligned with the Targaryens, which brings Oberyn and Martell in mad at everybody on that side as well. So it's like back and forth.
So what happened was the Martells had money as well. And some of the Targaryens realized that we can't just depend on the Lannisters. So the Martells had married into the Targaryen family. Rhaegar's wife is a Martell.
Yeah, she's Dornish. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rhaegar's wife is from Dorne. And so all the kids are half Dornish. So when all the Targaryens are killed, they're killing Dornish people too.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Oberyn gets pissed off because they killed his sister.
Exactly.
But it's interesting to see how the Dornish get involved with, because they seem like they didn't want to be involved with whatever was going on in King's Landing at one point. Now then they became in the mix.
They only got in the mix for real because their family was killed. They never would have really gotten in the mix other than that.
Oh, you think period? Like they would have been always like we out in the cut.
So when they were never conquered. The Dornish never got conquered. Like the Targaryens tried to bang with them, whatever. They so far away from everything, they just never conquered them. They just came up with a truce. Like, all right, fuck it, we'll send y'all some money, leave us alone. Like,
yeah, like
so,
we just chill.
Yeah, the Starks did the same thing. The Starks was like, you know what, fuck it, we chilling. But they did fight the Starks a little bit. The Starks, they banged for a while, and then the Starks was like, fuck it, it's cool. We worried about the wall. The Starks was always worried. We ain't even worried about what the fuck y'all doing. We live in the North. We watch, these niggas working on the wall. But if some shit pop off, we the first ones that's gonna get that.
Like when the Wildlands came through, they was coming at them.
Yeah. So they like, y'all got dragons and shit. Send the dragon to the wall if these White Walkers come. Send them over here. Because the North knew about them too. So the North also knew about the White Walkers. At some point, it became a myth. But back in the day, Brandon the Builder was from the North that built the wall. So they know that it's some shit over there. They've already fought the Night King, and before, this wasn't the first time the Night King came and trying to battle. The North fought them already and won. Shout out to Brandon the Builder. And so they ain't worried about the throne. They don't want a Iron Throne. They just want to fucking be in the North. They like, we in the North. This is what we know. Fuck them southern cities. It's hot down here. They be wilding for no reason. Like, I'm good. I like the snow. So let's back to the birth. I'm so sorry, guys. We done went on a huge tangent.
No.
So,
I mean, it's. We haven't talked Game of Thrones. People haven't talked in a long time, so it's good to get people's palate back, understanding what's this, all this stuff that's happening previously.
so they fucking cutting the ass up like a fucking jack-o'-lantern. The shit's not pretty at all. It's not fucking neat. She bleeding and shit. It's sad. She dying. The baby was born. They saved the baby. She dead. People at the castle or at the tournament realized that something's wrong. So motherfuckers just started getting up and leaving. They're like, something wrong. We need to go see what's going on. This boy, they got the baby. It's a boy. Yeah, let's get it. The baby dies. So Blue Lives Matters goes, he loved prostitutes and strippers and shit. He's such a like, part of him is Blue Lives Matter, the other part of him is Magic City. This motherfucker stay at the whorehouse. He go to the whorehouse and he drinking and shit, and he in his motherfucking bag. He like, this motherfucker keep trying to have these damn sons. His wife dead, his son dead. God damn it. It's time. I'm next. This nigga too old to get remarried. Fuck it. I'm next. This is me.
He can't have a bastard son.
He said some disparaging things about his nephew that had just died. The king, or not the king, but the hand of the king had some spies in the goddamn, whorehouse listening to see what this nigga was gonna say. And they had already had this big ass argument about who was gonna be the heir now. Is it gonna be my little girl, or is it gonna be my racist ass brother?
I like how you just made him racist. Just made him racist.
Racist ass brother. Surprisingly, shout out to Corliss, by the way. They offer my man Corliss a drink. He's like, I ain't drinking around all these damn white people. And if white people listen to this, I drink with y'all all the time. But Corliss wasn't going for that shit.
Not when we talking business.
Not finna spike my drink and get me fucked up and win my ass. Like, no, I'm not down with that.
It's like we finna have a change of power potentially. I ain't getting no.
I need all my mental capabilities and facilities right now. No. Well, I was very surprised that he chose David as the future king when they asked him what he thought. Mm-hmm. But I gotta remember, if it wasn't gonna be his wife, he wasn't worried about no other chick getting it. He probably like, my wife ain't getting it. Fuck your little girl. Like, I'm sure that's what he was on.
And keep in mind, Damon's got a wife in the veil this whole time that all this is going on.
He got a wife and kids, so Damon got kids, and like Damon be fucking strippers and shit, and he got a whole family. He don't want to go home to him either. He want to be close to the throne.
He took his side chick with him.
Yes, on the dragon. She ain't riding no.
He ain't going back home, is he? He ain't going back to the Ville.
He ain't riding no horse or nothing. He say, "Hey, baby, I got a dragon."
Have you rode one of these before?
Have you rode a dragon before? He been paying for the coochie for months. Now you gonna pull out the dragon. But anyway, he talked a lot of shit, and his brother found out he was talking shit. Called him in. I need to talk to you for a minute. We got to talk. They had a little knockout, drag out argument. His brother basically was like, nigga, you dumb as fuck. You ain't shit. You a horrible king. These niggas using you. He was like, bitch, get out of my face and go home.
He wasn't even mad necessarily. I think he was more mad about him saying that he ain't a good king and that he don't know shit. More than than the teasing about his son.
No, that son shit hurt him. That son and the wife shit hurt him. Like, he was hurt. He couldn't believe his brother would have said some shit like that. He know he ain't no great king. Like, when you ain't a great, you know that. But that whole, I've been hitting with that. I've been supporting you the whole time, trying to give you jobs. Don't nobody else in this motherfucker even like you. I'm the one defending you. And you go to the whorehouse and say this? This what you say? Like, he was hurt. Like, that's one of those situations where you thought somebody was really your partner. That's his blood brother. But you thought this dude really had your back. And the whole time, like, drunk or not, it's just some shit you can't say. Drunk or not. And I'm sure he was drunk and feeling himself. And he probably didn't even feel like that for real. It's one of those situations where the lights came on and the camera in front of you and you say some dumb shit. Like, I'm sure he did. Because he loves his niece in a R. Kelly type way, I think. But I'm not going to put nothing else out until we watch the show. But he's definitely very fond of his niece. And I think he really wanted to get King's Landing back together so that people could respect his brother. Also, if he's going to be king one day, he'll want to fix it later. If I can fix this shit now, I'm going to fix it
and
now.
then I can have it under peace.
Yeah. So, he said some dumb shit. He was the only one that was nice to his niece after her mama died. Like, the dad ain't talking to her, ain't saying shit to her. He more concerned about that Aaron died. He ain't seen her in weeks. He hadn't seen her since I won't say weeks, but he hadn't seen her in days. Like, he just go to class, leave me alone. Your mama dead, bye. Like, he wasn't even fucking with you.
And your brother I really wanted.
Yeah. So, the uncle had been really rocking with her, checking on her, making sure she's straight, So he loved his family. Some people just dicks. Everybody got a partner that's a dick. They say the wrong shit. He don't mean nothing by it. He think that tough love shit works, but it don't. Like, nigga, shut up. I don't want to hear that shit. My fucking wife is dead and my kid. So they choose the daughter finally. Like, the daughter is chosen. At the end of the day, it's the king's decision. You have to pick an heir so that there's not a war of succession.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pick an heir and you die, now anybody with a piece of your blood is, I should be king. I should be king. So now
look, if everybody remembers Robert Baratheon when he passed, and then you just pop up the War of the Five Kings.
Exactly. If you don't have an outlined heir, and shit, sometimes if you got an outlined heir, but if you don't have and that everybody can agree on,
it's like not having a will, y'all. When you don't have no will in your family, you get to fighting over your stuff.
Perfect example.
It's so Robert Baratheon had his brother Renly, who never fought or nothing, popping up. Just anybody that had his blood was down.
Because Robert issue was when it came out that them sons wasn't his. Then
it was suspected though. They didn't ever. That never was.
It never came out, but niggas knew. The streets knew. The niggas knew. All Robert bastard kids look like him, but his real kids don't.
Yeah.
Robert had 55. I'm exaggerating. But he had a bunch of bastards. All the motherfuckers, you could tell them was Robert's kids. And then the three that's supposed to be his kids don't look shit like him. They look like Jamie.
Or just look like a Lannister in general.
When Ned was reading that book after John Aaron had passed, because John Aaron realized it first is why he killed him. He was like dark hair, dark eyes, dark hair, dark eyes, dark hair. 17 motherfuckers with dark hair and dark eyes. What the fuck these? Why just these three though?
And it just happened to be from your wife three.
Yeah. Like, and he didn't smash blondes and redheads, and Robert was smashing whoever. So,
because John Aaron was poisoned, right?
Yeah, John Aaron was poisoned.
Back in the day.
What's fucked up? He may not have even been poisoned. You should read the books.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Littlefinger's the one that poisoned him.
Yeah. Oh no, he had old girl poison him.
Yeah, I know. Littlefinger had his wife.
Yeah, Littlefinger just liked to be in shit. Like just
he had Caitlyn's sister who he was smashing too.
Yeah, he was smashing both. He wanted to smash one, and then just settle for the other one.
Yeah, Liza. I think that was her name. Liza.
Yeah. Like people didn't think that that was John Aaron's son either, though, right?
Yeah, that little motherfucker. That nigga was. He was John.
Because I was saying, because they was like, John Aaron didn't even want to be with her for real. I could see John Aaron being like, man, do whatever you feel. Like, whatever.
So John Aaron had to have an heir. So he had to smash a couple times. Once he had the son, he stopped smashing. Ain't had no more kids. So he's like, I'm gonna fulfill my duty and get an heir at least. That heir, that air shit's important. Like that I gotta have somebody who come up next up under me is very important in Game of Thrones. It's based on like medieval feudal Europe. So
yeah.
that next in line shit important. So once John Aaron, had the because he was not supposed to be with Lando Stark at all. Like
Yeah.
that's not who he wanted. They married her. They married them off to strengthen the family.
Right, because wasn't Ned supposed to marry her originally?
Oh, I don't. So Ned's the baby boy.
Right, but I mean, I think he was supposed to be originally marrying her though.
I wouldn't doubt it, but yeah,
Like
possibly.
I think like the brothers, both of the brothers marry into the family from the River Run,
Yeah, I can see that, but yeah, because Ned, it would have been Ned's. I thought it would have been Ned's brother that went to the wall.
No, you talking about Benjen.
Yeah.
I think Benjen just decided because he was just like, I get him. No, him and Brand, the older Brendan, they're close in age. So he always thought it was going to be a battle for them. So he just bowed out for the air thing. Like I'm just going to send myself to the wall to make it easier on everybody.
Yeah,
because I think they're only like a year or two apart or something like that.
No, I actually think that you're right. He just made the decision.
Like, I'm just gonna bow out. I'm gonna go to the wall. It ain't gonna be no discussion and no fight over who's gonna run House Stark.
Because he was a dope ass fighter too.
Like, that's what I'm saying. And he didn't even want that.
Yeah, I mean, Benjen Stark was the smarter of the Stark. I mean, I hate to say it, he was the best of both worlds. He was diplomatic and smart and shit, and a good leader like Ned, but also could whip your ass like Benjen. Not to say Ned couldn't fight, but Ned hadn't had to fight.
Yeah, and Brendan was like just the big bruiser. He was just a dude. He just went in there guns blazing. Then he had no plan. We just heading to King's Landing. Like we just heading there. No plan, no nothing. We just go kick in the door and ask where our sister at.
Yeah. I mean,
no plan, no nothing.
I respect it because I mean, who would?
But in the Game of Thrones, you gotta have it's gotta be different.
But I mean, it was rules of engagement at least. Like who would have thought that the king would kill not only the head of the Starks, but the heir too?
Yeah, because it all fell down to Ned.
Yeah. Luckily, the Starks had a strong foundation, and Ned was like, "Okay, I guess it's me."
Oh wow, no, Benjen's the youngest, man.
Oh, so Benjen's younger than Ned.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
So that's why but I know it was a reason like that. He didn't want to even battle for the Stark name. I knew it was that, something like that.
Yeah. But anywho's, this is where it gets kind of cool because this didn't happen in the book. All of the Targaryen kings passed down to their heirs the secret of why the Targaryens must rule Westeros.
Mm-hmm.
Because A Song of Ice and Fire, which was a vision that was had, said that Westeros would fall if a Targaryen was not on the throne. That's some big shit and a great rewrite. Like,
yeah, because Daenerys didn't know that, right?
No, Daenerys didn't know it. She had never been the heir for real, so no one told her that. Rhaegar knew.
Right, because Rhaegar had the dreams that his son is the one that was going to help, kill the Night King.
Yep. So Rhaegar knew. I mean, he was told too because he was the heir. But then he had a dream that his son, and in his dream, it was not the kids he already had.
Right, that was the killer. Yeah.
So he wasn't just smashing her out of because he loved her. He felt like he had to smash her, Lyanna, because that's going to be the key. The son we have is the key to the future.
Do you think it was by convenience? It was like a relationship of convenience. Like, all right, I had the dream. Who's the first chick that I can get on real quick?
No, I'm pretty sure he realized that he had some northern blood on the throne. So,
okay.
All of the people said that he didn't actually even cheat on his wife. They said that he divorced her. He got some maesters to divorce and then marry him and Lyanna.
Right, they got remarried. Right, they got married. Yes.
So that his son would have a legitimate claim to the throne. Because a bastard can't inherit lands. They are snow or rivers. Like they don't even get a last name.
Yeah.
So he legit was like, I think that my son's gonna be the one, and my son probably needs to have some type of northern blood, still be a Targaryen, but have some kind of northern blood to get this done. Because everybody keeps thinking that it was just because of Daenerys that they won. It's not Daenerys. Jon Snow is the one.
Yeah, by far, yes.
Yes.
He
Aegon
got it all
Targaryen is the
done.
one.
He fought them multiple times.
Yeah. Aegon Targaryen is the one. I love Daenerys. She's fantastic. But Jon Snow, aka Aegon the fifth or whatever the Aegon he was, is the one. He was supposed to have the Iron Throne. That's his throne. He's Rhaegar's only living child, and Rhaegar was next in line. Daenerys had no claim. Once Aegon was on the board, Daenerys was done.
Because
I don't
in
care
the books,
what
though, in the books, I wonder what George R. R. Martin. Remember the other Aegon that they have in there, John something.
He on the other side. He ended up getting burned up
He did. I'm trying to remember.
in the books. Yes,
He did.
he goes up.
So the other dude that was saying he was named Aegon, like he was the heir.
Yeah, he was like, if fire can't burn me, and that shit burned him the fuck up.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. Damn.
He was
Damn.
like,
Obviously you're not a Targaryen.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he was like, oh shit, yeah. And then, but it was like, wait, burning,
My bad. I'm not. Somebody get the water.
Yeah, so like it did not work out well for him at all.
So what are you
But no,
expecting from this season? What are you expecting from this season, man? What would you like to see a lot from this season?
so it's going to progress, and we're going to see how baby girl becomes how she's going to deal with this. We'll get the fallout of it's a very male dominated society, so everybody ain't with her being next in line. I'm not just talking about Targaryens. There's a bunch of people in the kingdom who are not feeling that at all. Like they just not with that. And dude already kind of a weak king anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of folks don't respect him. Ain't that many dragons no more.
Stand on it. They can't stand on it. He can't stand on it.
Yeah. So it's going to cause some issues. Now, obviously the Targaryens keep the throne because Aegon ends up being king. Or I'm sorry, not Aegon. The Mad King ends up being, the king. And that's how Game of Thrones kicks off, him being crazy. But it's going to be good. I give it about 3 episodes before we really get to see a lot of murder, kill. It's going to be a lot of.
I don't think we're going to see another character that kicks off stuff this season. That kicks off stuff in this set of shows.
Yeah, I know Damon is not off the board. I know he's not the heir, but he's alive. In that type of situation, you always got to kill the dude because let's see, the gold cloaks, the whole police force level. So you then kicked him out, but there's a whole group of police that he has trained that love him.
Because it was like 2,000, they said, right? They said 2,000, right?
2,000. All the people in the city love him for the most part. The hookers love him. The criminals don't, but everybody, all the other white people like shit. That John D. Robbins, I'm glad you cut his arm off. Like the people, like he's the people's champion. Like they wanted him. The people wanted him to be the next king. So he got the army.
Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah, he got the police, but he live in a white neighborhood, so the white folks love him too. He live in Ladue. It's Ladue. So like,
and you're Ladue cop.
The police love him, and the people who live in Ladue love him. So he's more liked right now than the king, I'm sure.
Oh, that dude said he's a Ladue cop.
No, I mean for folks who, or if you live in California, Bel Air, wherever white people congregate, not only is he loved by the police force, but he's loved by the people that they police. Again, not the criminals, obviously, but just the general citizens. He's obviously he don't mind prostitution being the thing. He in the whorehouse all the time, so the hookers love him.
And he spend that bread too, so they love him.
And he spin bread, so he's well liked by King's Landing. Not to say the little girl isn't, but she a little girl. And even women who aren't used to it's funny how these societal things are set up.
Mm-hmm.
You hear, oh, it's gonna be a woman that's gonna be queen, and you like, but it's supposed to be a king, women included. So like, and then
just like women that wouldn't vote for a woman president.
Exactly. You got the queen that never was. I'm sure she feels some kind of way. So you're gonna get into that. I'm sure Corliss feels some kind of way. He's like, damn, you didn't pick my wife. So It's a whole lot going on, and we get to see if the best friend is really a best friend or not. If he really down for real, it's going to be a lot of House of Cards intrigue going on.
It's Game of Thrones, baby. Is no allies, no enemies, just business.
Man, so we'll get some battles coming up real soon. It's gonna get good. I say give it time.
Well, I say shows the previews. We'll get some kind of battles. I don't know if we're gonna get like the main war this season.
Oh no, I don't think anything major is gonna kick off unless they skip some years.
Unless they age her up. Like 2 or 3 years, right? Like 2 or 3 years, this war.
Yeah. So unless, I mean, you know what? It's a TV show, so we might get to see some big. Because even the Game of Thrones, the first season, we got to the battles pretty quick. Like it went from like them traveling from the north to King's Landing to murder, kill.
Right, because Ned got killed like around episode 7 or 8.
Yep.
And so then that's when
the Starks
they start revving up.
Yeah, the Starks left the Seven King, or they left the Alliance right after Ned got killed.
They start going after the Lannisters. That's because that's how Jaime gets jammed up.
Yeah. Jaime says, "Oh, I'll go to the north and fight," because the Northmen were traveling toward King's Landing. So Jaime decides to go up there to prevent it. Like, we're gonna stop them before they get past the rivers, and that didn't work at all. Man, Robb Stark was a beast. R.I.P. Robb Stark, man. Shout out to the first king of the North.
But he couldn't play that Game of Thrones, man.
He fell in love. Can't be in love on the Game of Thrones, man. Love gets you killed. Love gets you killed.
Because he shouldn't have had even then, even if he like fell in love there, you shouldn't have had your wedding in not at home.
Listen, he was engaged. He engaged with somebody else, and then had an affair, and then he kept her. Like, and that's not gonna work. Like,
because it was one of the River Run wives, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to marry
one of the daughters of the guy that got him set up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, he just gonna spurn me. Because did they let him pass and he would like to go through, and that's why he had or was some money.
No. So they were originally still with the Lannisters. Like, and to get to King's Landing, to get to the southern area, you got to go through there.
Yeah.
So he made a deal. Like, yo, if you marry one of my daughters, because I mean, they believed in him. They like, little bitch ass Lannister boy was a little kid. They're like, yeah, Robb got this shit. Like niggas, like Robb had not lost a battle. So at this point,
no, he didn't lose any.
Yeah. So folks was like, yeah, Robb probably finna kill this little boy. Joffrey's not gonna. I mean, Joffrey was the king. They're like, yeah, Robb's gonna go down there and fuck Joffrey up. Like Joffrey's a done deal. But he like, okay, I'll hedge my bets. I'll switch sides, but you got to marry my daughter because that's gonna bring us all kind of prestige. You marry my daughter,
and you take over King's Landing.
She the queen. I know y'all gonna give us some tax breaks and do something because my daughter.
Tax breaks.
My daughter is the queen of the Seven Kingdoms. So, so dude, like, yeah, okay, I got it. His mom, like, yeah, you should probably do that. That was her uncle, by the way. She's like, yeah, my uncle. Fuck it. Go ahead, marry her.
So this
She
is
was
great uncle, which would be his like third or fourth cousin, basically.
yeah. Like I mean, no, that's his mom's uncle. So that would be his. Oh, you talking about the wife? His
No,
future wife?
yeah, I'm talking like for Rob. So if that's his his mother's uncle, that would be his great uncle.
Correct. So that would be.
So that he would be like his third cousin. His daughter would be like his third cousin.
At this point, most of these families had intermingled. So yeah, all of them related in some way, shape, or form. You know.
Okay.
Technically, if Cersei wouldn't have been smashing her brother, then her kids would have been half Baratheon. So you know, all of the families have mingled. You won't fight your niece.
Right. That was the whole point of having that alliance and getting married.
The whole point of marrying the family is so another reason to not fight. Oh fuck, I can't go over there. My niece lives there. Like I'm gonna chill out. Like
I mean, what you call it? Was it Frey?
Yeah, Walder Frey.
Walter Frey. He ended up killing his niece anyway.
True.
He said, "Fuck that."
And she didn't want the marriage to happen either. She got killed for nothing.
Yeah.
But no, not for nothing. Caitlyn Stark would have come back in some way, shape, or form to get Walder Frey.
So he had to finish up business. He had to tie the loose ends up.
He tried to tie up the loose ends. He was thinking that, Snow is at the wall. He can't do nothing. Rob is Rob. The other Lannister boy in a wheelchair.
And the other one like 8 years old.
Rick and 8. Like, I'm in the clear. We don't know where Arya is. Arya probably dead. And then the other Stark is about to marry Joffrey. So
it cripples they crippled them for like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yes, they took the Starks out. Like only nigga that they didn't know what a cripple or let me not call him a cripple. They didn't know what a 3-eyed raven or Rickon were. They thought they were dead. Remember?
Yeah, that's right. Because they were no, that's later on though. Because
they killed
the Greyjoy go after them while Rob was gone, right? He took over King's Landing while he was gone.
Sorry. Yeah, so that happened while Rob was gone.
Right. So they thought they was dead because Rob died thinking they were dead already. Because he's like,
Rob
as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna go get this motherfucker right here after I finish this business.
Rob died thinking that his brothers were dead.
He also died because Greyjoy was his boy. He was like, "Oh, I got to double back on this nigga after we finish this."
Yeah, he died thinking that his brothers and Arya were dead. Like that's like he thought they were off the board. So all he had was his mother and Sansa.
And Sansa's trapped in King's Landing.
And she trapped. So that's actually really why he's going to King's Landing. For real. Caitlyn, go save your sister. Go save your sister. You gotta go save your sister.
And he
didn't want it.
And fell in love en route.
Well, fell in love with a nurse. With a random. She wasn't even working for him for real. She was a freelance nurse. She was on
travel nursing.
She worked for the Red Cross. She wasn't even.
She didn't belong to no family or nothing.
No, she was literally not. He got nothing for.
She was a GDI. She was a GDI.
Man, I ain't gonna even say a GDI because she can have GDIs might have a rich daddy. She was just a broke lady. Like she was from she wasn't from there. She was from like she was from like a free city.
Oh, so she's from like Essos then.
Yeah, she wasn't even from Westeros. Like she wasn't even from around there. She was exotic. He got him something extravagant that he had never seen before.
Rob, hey man, I always wonder like, man, if Rob would have stayed alive, how this would have went.
Listen, man. Somebody would have killed Rob though because of the prophecy. No, because Rob couldn't be king. So listen, if Rob wins, then the Game of Thrones is done. But then the White Walkers win. because
So it had to be Jon Snow.
no one would have united under Rob. Like the whole Seven Kingdoms, it just would have been a big long ass war.
It had just been a war repeatedly, right? Because he'd be like, okay, you got King's Landing, somebody else gonna try to come take it.
Because think about it. Two Baratheons was at the same time trying to go after King's Landing.
Yes, because it was the War of the Five Kings. You had Renly, Stannis, Robb, Joffrey, and it's one more.
And god damn it.
Is it Balin?
No.
Greyjoy?
Not Balin, but Daddy Greyjoy.
That's not Balin?
Uncle. Wasn't Balin the uncle? No, Balin's the dad, yes.
Yeah.
Who's the uncle that showed up and was trying to smash Cersei?
Oh, Euron.
Okay, yeah.
Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, so and Balin. So even once he took Joffrey off the board, now he got to go all the way back to the north to fight the Greyjoys. Because they had basically taken over the north.
And you still got Stannis Baratheon out there.
You got to get past Stannis and them who going to be coming from Dragonmount. Renly was off the board. Stannis took care of
because he took his own brother out.
Yeah. I mean, truth be told, he probably would have took Stannis probably would have ended up winning. But nobody like Stannis. Don't nobody like Stannis though.
Yeah.
Like
didn't the show try to make him sympathetic for a while until he killed his daughter? Like it made you kind of like him.
Yeah, but everybody, not even his family likes him. They like Robert and Renly. Like Stannis was the oldest. Like he technically should have been king. Robert his little brother, and Renly the baby brother.
I mean, think about it. The fact that Renly was like, "Well, my brother, I should have shot."
And then Stannis was mad because he didn't get to go to King's Landing. Renly was in King's Landing, and Stannis just had to go back to Dragonmount. And nobody likes Dragonmount. Like, it ain't even know where you want to be. It's rocky and ugly and cold.
Nobody likes Dragonmount.
Yeah. So he always felt like his brother like exiled him and sent him far away. So, I mean, Joffrey, if he didn't get I think Joffrey would have got killed just like he got killed. Somebody else, a Tyrell or somebody would have killed him.
Somebody would have caught him slipping because he would have been flagrant with somebody.
Yeah. I think originally if Robb would have got to King's Landing and then had to turn around and head all the way back up to Winterfell, I think the Baratheons would have got, I think Stannis would have took care of that.
Because he would have to split his troops too, though, because he got to leave some back there in King's Landing, and then but also double back and go back after the Greyjoys.
Exactly. So I think at some point the Starks would have just lost. I don't think the Tyrells would have backed the Starks.
Or do you think Robb would have brokered a deal with Stannis considering our families done business before? I'm gonna go back, get handle this Greyjoy business. I'll meet you back at King's Landing.
Stannis killed his own brother to be king, bro.
That's true. God damn. This is not okay. You can't do diplomacy with that person like that.
Stannis, not only did he kill his own brother, he used blood magic to do it. Like he didn't even stab him.
And he killed his own daughter. Then he killed his own daughter.
And then Stannis ain't. You're not finna negotiate with a nigga who gonna kill his daughter and his brother. Like ain't no. Okay,
there is no negotiation.
You're not gonna get that one.
Okay, Robb was jammed up. He couldn't do nothing.
No, I feel like Robb would have been fighting the war on two fronts, and that's really hard to do.
So really, Robb should just went back and just got King's get the North back and hold down the North for a minute, and just let them do what the fuck they want to do down there.
But his sister, see, that's the thing. Robb is torn because his father was killed in King's Landing too. So
he's got, but he's acting like Brennan Stark. Like, I'm just going head him down there, not thinking.
But he had a plan though. Robb was winning. Like Robb wasn't just he was going like the plan was working too. That's the thing. The plan was working. Everything was working. And at that point, they thought Littlefinger was gonna be on their side. Like the mom talking Littlefinger, and he was being a spy. So on paper, shit looking great for Robb. He the Patriots when they had Randy Moss. Like shit's perfect. And then You know, sometimes a fluke play, some fluke shit go down, and you lose. Like,
Dang. Yeah, yeah. Damn. Oh man, that
like
was one.
even just like this is something that's funny, and you can cut this out later, or cut this now. But Jon Snow only was able to like have a claim to the throne because he died and was brought back to life.
Right, because then he's not part of Night's Watch anymore.
Exactly. Like so many things had to fall into place for this stuff to work out. Like, and that's why I like these books. Because one, they take you somewhere that you'll probably, well, I'm never going to see a fucking dragon and no shit like that. But it makes you think. And this is how rural fucking Europe used to, not rural, feudal Europe and shit used to be.
Medieval Europe, yeah.
Medieval Europe this was it. Like, they were marrying and intermingling the families and shit like that. I'm going to send my niece to marry the Duke of such and such. And let me know why.
And then, like, okay, you don't want to murder your own kids, but then they would double back and still be like, well, that was 2 generations ago. We don't even know y'all.
Yeah, eventually. That's why you got to keep doing it. That's exactly why you have to keep doing it. Why you got to have like 4 kids. So, okay, I can send this kid to Dorne. I'm going to send this kid over here. Like, because it can't be 4, 5 generations ago. It need to be fresh. Like, Renly and them and Stannis would not have been trying to kill Joffrey if they thought that was their nephew. They
right.
like,
okay, I did it. It came out that rumor came out.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like people have been whispering that shit for a while. Like, them niggas don't look nothing like.
Like, you sure those your kids, Rob?
You
like,
sure your kids, Rob? Like, you sure?
I mean, you ain't messing with nobody else.
Yeah. And deep down, Rob, what's funny is deep down, Robert probably knew that Lyanna, I feel like, well, no, I'll take that back. When you just that full of yourself, he was still hurt years later. He would still drink.
About Lyanna.
Yeah. So, like, that cut him deep. He was in, sometimes you're married because you're being forced to. He loved her for real. Like, that was, like, he really wanted to be with her. I don't think we get fat Robert if he gets with Lyanna. We get, like, respectable, I'm going to kill people forever Robert. Robert got the king, and he didn't even want to be king. He got the throne, and he wasn't happy with Cersei, and he didn't want to do no work for real, and he just ate and got lazy, and just, I'm the king, and fuck it. Like,
because Jon Arryn was his original hand, right?
Yeah. And Jon Arryn was doing everything. And then they killed Jon Arryn, so now he's got to find a new hand.
And he does Ned.
And he like, the only dude I trust is Ned. Like, he the only one, which is smart.
Yeah.
As fuck.
Well, man, Sleep, where can people hit you up, man, and talk more of this Game of Thrones, man? We'll be back next week as well to chop it up even more. But where can people hit you up at?
All right. Well, next time, I promise me and Daryl and Scott and Raven will stay on.
Raven too. Ravioli will be here too.
And Raven will stay on task. It'll be great because we'll have other people to reel me and Daryl back in. But you can catch because we've been all over the place, and I apologize. You can find me. Please check out my other podcast, or me and Aldoja's podcast just posted. It's part of the network as well. But you can catch me on Twitter at Gotta Go to Sleep with a little underscore underneath, and on Instagram, Gotta Go to Sleep. GOTTAGO #2 SLEEP.
All right. Make sure y'all subscribe, Lando Cal Experience, and also subscribe to the main channel, SOLC Network. And we'll be back next week talking about episode 2. Peace.
All right. Have a good night.